going on, you gorgeous bastards out there, ladies and gents, boys and girls? Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another So-So production. We're doing it on Friday, February the 17th, I believe, 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Wherever you are, if you're tuning in from Toronto, anywhere in Ontario, Canada, what's up? Out there in the West Coast, BC, what's up? South in the US, further south in Mexico, further south than that, talking South America, if you're tuning in. We're doing it globally, baby. If you're out there in Asia, Europe, Africa, New Zealand, Australia, wherever you're at on them islands, maybe you're, maybe you're one of the long lost civilizations of, the branch of humanity that just some people, I don't know, maybe you're underwater, maybe you're under, I don't know what's on the deep levels of the ocean. Maybe there's there's a couple of tribes maybe left underwater and they just never left. They're like, they heard others moved and swam up and started breathe upstairs in the air, but they're like, no, because if you're floating in water, fam, you got free food everywhere. So that's because air doesn't have air. I mean, you got birds, but we don't have that. We only travel horizontally. We don't do that vertical. Because if you're in water, you hungry, nothing in front of you, you level up, and it's num right there above you. So whatevs. I'm just saying, wherever you're at, if you're tuning in, if it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. We're going to have some fun. If you've been with me for some time, thank you very much for all the love and support. You know who you are in and around this beautiful planet. We are kicking butt, taking names, taking it one little teeny tiny baby step at a time. And today's going to be no different. We're going to have some fun, shoot the shit, check in with the crew, and everybody's going to go off and have a great weekend because it's Friday, baby. Sip, sip to the gang. Man. Palestine can't catch a break, am I right? Man, Palestinians have it rough. It's in Ohio, if I'm not Palestine or Palestine. Ohio, I'm talking about those Palestinians. It's cray. I'm not, I just recently, it's come across my, people are talking about it. I've seen videos, I've seen a few, I've read a couple of headlines, and apparently there was a train moving along, and that's the thing, my knowledge about this particular story is very limited. I didn't hear too much of it, but then I saw a little bit of it, and then apparently there was a mushroom cloud of sorts, chemicals leaking, spewing into the atmosphere, which is, yesterday I went shopping, Shoppers Drug Mart here in Canada. You know what it is? It's our, it's a drug mart. It sells, they're drug dealers, they're bona fide real thugs out, but organized about it, really neat. They got rid of the plastic bags, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna carry this shampoo, vitamin, and what have you? And then they're like, you gotta buy if you don't have a bag, we don't have plastic bags. Gone are the days of, in some locations at least, single-use plastics. And the lady at the counter, she's like, yeah, you're gonna have to buy one of these, another big bag, add it to the many of big bags that you pick up every now and again, because you're like, oh, if I could just get so I'm doing my part. I'm not carrying around a plastic bag, and then boom, right there, mushroom cloud up in the ether. And I looked it up, if I'm not mistaken, this happened in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, which sucks. Anywhere these types of things happen, it sucks. But then I'm just Google mapping it, because I like Google mapping things, and I'm like, man, is that a 5 hour? Is that a 5 hour drive? Is that just right there? And things are just how air be, how air does, how air molecules don't travel nowhere, and the location itself is, of course, probably, if you linger on there, I'm assuming you're gonna be growing some extra eyes, some extra powers. Maybe you lose some powers. Maybe you gain some deficits. I don't know. We'll see. But apparently, from what I hear, who knows? I don't even know. It's, man. But that's the thing, man. And at the same rate, I gotta say, I've also been hearing a lot of people talk about The Last of Us, and I started watching it. HBO puts out bangers, so that's I've only watched one episode thus far, and I'm very intrigued. Not gonna give anything away, but there was a scene with an old lady in the beginning. Agros, you know what I'm saying? And if that, right moves were made, and I'm just gonna say that because I don't want to be spoiling things, but there was an old lady with a mouth situation, and that's, if you know, you know. Gross. But also I'm like, oh, now you got me. What? Anywho, point is, watching that, it's you know, when shit goes down, and then you're like, and then you see little glimpses of things like that go down in society, and it just reminds you, you know, whether it's a natural disaster or a man-made, whether you want to call it a disaster, or, you know, negligent, whatever, you know, it's we're so vulnerable out there, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have fun. That doesn't mean you shouldn't keep on, because that's what we do, baby. That's it's not about how many times you know, pull a hamstring. It's not about how many times you know, get a cramp in your urethra. It's not about how many. It's about overcoming the bleeding from whichever orifice it happens to be from, and, you know, saying like, as you know, what ifs, dog. It is what it is. It's one life, one love, you know, and we keep on rocking and rolling. That's what we hopefully learn from these situations, from these stitches. But that's, yeah. So, you know, I'm sucking on paper straws, trying to be like fucking, you know, Mr. Mindful with the end. Like, you know, I'm up, like, when it comes to the environment, I just, like, you know, man, you know what I'm saying? So I do my parts with the grocery bags, with the, cause fucking, like, you know, it's, I've said it before, I'll say it again, man. Like, environment and gender issues for me, like, fucking, like, up there in the priority list of, like, the everyday, to, like, you know, it's what it is. It's what they are important. Not to say that I don't want to be, like, you know, but they're, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's Friday. Let's have some fun. Let's shoot the shit with the fellas, with the, you know, with the long cacks, with the long rocks hanging down in their socks, with the ladies with the pink lips, the wide hips, and fancy tricks. What's up? Thank you for joining me. We are having fun. It is a wonderful day to be alive and kicking, just like any other day. It has dipped down. The weather has gotten a little bit chillier again. We are still in February here in Canada. I did manage to go for a walk yesterday, which was nice. Get a little bit of the old cardiovascular exercise. Gotta exercise the body, man. You gotta exercise the body, mind, body, soul, spirit. You gotta fucking alignment. We're trying to alignment. Oh, fucking aligned, baby. But that's what, I haven't gone for walks as many as I'd like to, because spring, summer, fall is walking season for your boy. Winter time, a few months here and there, you know, it's the winter conditions, it's the elements out there, it's, you know. And don't get me wrong, I am the type that I'll get up in the morning, I'll wrestle a moose, I'll milk a couple of beavers out there, you know what I'm saying? I'll trap a couple of squirrels, you know, I'll make a business. As a matter of fact, are you out there having a difficult time because there's a bunch of birds doing all, or your car, man, trying to maintain that fancy paint job and its integrity? Tired of these birds making a mockery out of you and your choices and your life and what have you? Yeah, well, enough of that. You know, call Men's and Dem. That's the name of the company, Men's and Dem. Men's and Dem, what do we do at Men's and Dem? Here's the thing, fam. We're gonna organize people. You make a phone call, and people will show up. Grown men will show up, and they've gone through extensive training, hours of extensive training. They'll sit out there and just, like, watch these birds. You feel me? And then they'll find their homes, and then before they get an early start to come in and shitting on your car in the morning, these fellas, Men's and Dem, brought to you by none other than Men's and Dem, will go ahead and, like, shit in the bird's little fucking birdhouse and be like, what's up? And so there you go. I'm providing a job and a service, essentially. You guys call 1-800-MENS and Dem right now and get yourself a year subscription of Men's and Dem, where Men's and Dem arrive at your house and essentially resolve any bird doo-doo droppings and issues, should you be experiencing those, because, you know, that's what it is. Top priority survey. We've surveyed a bunch of people. We're like, what's the number one thing on your priority list? We surveyed people. Survey said maintaining original paint integrity on my car, numero uno, above all else. So Men's and Dem is essentially it's a necessity. It's not a want. It's a desire to fucking be on top of your list and shit. So it's Friday. We're having fun. We're we're just a bunch of silly gooses and ganders out there, baby. One interesting thing that I'd like to go into, and I want to see how deep we can go into it. I want to go deep, baby, as far as I can go into it, as much as, we'll see where it takes us. What do I want to talk about with you guys a little bit in depth today? Methods of contraception. Contraceptive methods. Methods of saying, you know what? I'm not ready to make a cake. I'm not ready to put the old dough in the old oven and produce a byproduct. I'm not, and this thing goes way back. This thing goes back itself, which is pretty far back, dude. If you really think about it, what's further than back, right? Point is, people have always, ever since we started, I'm assuming, hundreds of thousands of years ago when we started, I don't know when we started, when we, walked away from the feces smearing phase and started like talking shit, somewhere along the lines, I guess we figured out how like the whole sexual business works, maybe, because again, originally people, when they just like, when first people, if you got pregnant, you wouldn't know how you got pregnant, right? Yeah, it would have taken you some time, fast forward to like, magic and witchcraft to explain things, and then that evolves to science and tech, and like we're so fortunate today, but back in the day we're taking it way back. That's why I said we're going deep, baby. So yeah, people were always concerned, I guess, with trying to figure out, how do we get pregnant, how does this happen, why did the first people might have just been like screwing around and not even knowing what they're doing, man. All of a sudden somebody ends up getting fat, they're lagging behind on the old hunting and gathering trips, not much hunting, and they're not doing a really good job at the gathering either. All of a sudden it's like, Lucy here is just letting herself go, isn't she? Right? Am I right, gang? And everybody's like ganging up on Lucy, fast shaming her. So until a baby comes out and they're like, man, Lucy, you're weird. And until they figured it out a little bit. That's the, I'm assuming, because how would you know if you're like the first people? But then it evolves, we figured it out to a certain degree, and then at one point we're like, let's control Mother Nature. Because a lot of it was like Mother Nature's in control, and we're like, let's control Mother Nature. Let's get in there. And it's not to say that we shouldn't control Mother Nature, because sometimes she's a bad bitch. She like, you know what it is. But it's a little, because hence like housing and like everything else, that we try to like implement little changes so that we can have a little bit of teeny tiny glimpse of control. But she'll come up and like she'll be like, everything's cool, but like every once in a while she'll remind you, she'll do certain things and just like fuck up the whole day for everybody. Like, tsunami, oh, your bridge over there, cute, real cute. Oh, is that a dam over there? Cute. That's a cute little dam you got there, because whatevs, that's Mother Nature. Love ya, but still, it's what it is. It's the elements. What have we been talking about today? We're talking about contraception, contraceptive methods, and trying to, have a little bit of control, I guess. That was, I believe it was around 1916 that a lady was concerned with this subject as well. I should probably go further back before we get to 1916. We should go further back. We should go further, yeah, because we're skipping many a steps. Excuse me, we do not skip steps unless we are participating in hopscotch, unless we are skipping for either leisurely purposes or exercise, unless we're skipping rocks, but we don't skip steps for the sheer entertainment of skipping steps. Point is, I guess, let's take it back. The first modes of, what came before, because like the condom was, before we got to the pill eventually and other methods that we'll discuss, but before that all came, before the condom even, what came before the condom? Originally, when we just discovered how ladies end up getting pregnant, after somebody were to get pregnant, there wasn't much medicine. This is pre-condom days. What you do if you didn't want to keep the baby, and you played a little, you had a little tussle. So I guess, in essence, a little tussle before football. This is way before football. But if somebody got pregnant and like mutually they're like, we're not gonna, you know, this isn't our thing. This isn't our, like, I'm not feeling this, like, this isn't, you know, what it is for the time being. Like, we're good, but what do they say? What's the old saying that the old sayings say? You know, three's a crowd sometimes is what it is. So essentially they're like, let's just go tussle right now for a second. I want to meet you outside. Let me just grab this lemonade. I'll meet you outside for a little quick tussle. And you just, you know, you tussle, you lifted rocks together, you wrestled a little bit, and you exerted enough energy to be like, you know, oh, you know, there goes the baby. We're talking way back before anything, right? After that, we evolved, we developed staircases. That was one of the other, you know, they say the watershed moment really in birth control. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, we've come a long way, and there was other utensils involved. At one point we did go like, let's go, you know, let's get technical with this, talking coat hangers. People did weird things to get rid of a baby, but you know, and then eventually we're like, what if we just wrap up the old cack? What if we just wrap the old cack with some, you know, they tried different things. They brought ribbons, silk ribbons, animal intestines, you know, wrapped in silk ribbons and other animal intestines, and then maybe, you know, you put a little bit of olive oil on that, and then you slip it on, and that was the method back then. And sometimes it would resemble like a dirty old sock, and actually they would have it would have a belt mechanism, because I've looked it up. You too can look it up. They had a belt mechanism, a little string, not a belt, but overall the sock would go over the old cock, and there was you know, a string attached to either side which you could wrap around your. They wanted it to be sturdy, I guess. It wasn't, you know, the stiffness and the whole. There wasn't, you know, the material wasn't. It was sturdy on its own, but they wanted to like make sure this thing doesn't fall off, even though it probably, like, you know, it wasn't gonna fall off. I don't know why they went with this string, but I think they wanted to just make sure it's like reinforced. It's not coming off, because they're like, oh, again, three's a crowd. So the point is, fam, we evolved from condoms, and we eventually came to, I guess, 1916. That's where we're at now. 1916, a lady was just like, man, we gotta take controls. You know, we gotta, and I forget her name, but that's okay. I remember the year. That's what's important. That's right. The year is more important than the name of the person. Who cares the name of the lady was? Point is, she's like, I wanna control this bad boy, which is birth, so that women can, you know, do other stuff with their life, like go work and be happy. And statistics show that women who work are more happy. Alternatively, there are statistics that show that women who don't work and you know, work in the traditional classical get out of the house work are not as happy, and they love to be, for the most part, mothers. What's up with different statistics saying different things? I don't know. Sometimes statistics are just what are numbers, if not, you know, pooled data sample. What are we even talking about, fam? Statistics show a lot of things. I'm just saying there's different perspectives. Point is, it's to each their own, whatever you prefer. To each their own. What is more fulfilling? You know, putting on pantsuits and getting weird haircuts and, you know, fucking like, you know, putting in shifts and shit, or like, you know, having a family, keeping it tight. Working together as the family, but like, you know, the workforce had its lure, and it still has a lure. To a lot of people, there's a lot of, not to say that, you know, I'm all for women's workings and all that shit. Don't get this twisted, but I just don't want to paint like a bias, because there's been this thing, there's a perspective, I guess, from my perception anyway, that like, oh, like, you know, chase a career, which is great, chase a career, but you know, the family's definitely taken a. And this is both from like men and women too. The career is like, you know, it's career, not for all, but it is a good portion of them. I don't even know what we're saying, dude. I don't even know what we're saying. Point is, women with pantsuits, are they more happier with women with no pantsuits and maybe a couple of babies? Depends on the lady, really, at the end of the day. So that being said, excuse me, let me get a sip of this. This lady in 1916, she's like, I want more ladies and more pantsuits and in more meetings and just like, you know, more fucking like pantsuits. And that was the dream, pantsuits. She did have like she wanted to like obviously like help women with the movement so that they can uplift themselves with the monetary gains and whatnot, and like have autonomy essentially. Portions of it was like, it was there's like it's whatever. We're going through a real life story with a little bit of a twist. So I said buckle up, buckle down. This lady, although she might have had ideas about like helping women's, she also had other ideas. She was like a little bit like motivated by, from what I read, from what I hear, a little bit of by like eugenics and stuff. She would be like, you know what, it'd be like, what are these bums on the street doing? The best way to deal with these bums on these streets is to make sure they're sterilized and make sure their population is controlled that way. And it was weird. We did some weird stuff together. As collectively, as a species, we've done some weird stuff. We've done it, and we've gone through it, and we're going through it, and there's a point to all of this that is, and I hope to find it. We'll get there together. The point is, ladies and gents, we did some weird, because we didn't just have the pill. We didn't always have the pill. We had to develop the pill. And this lady, alongside with other individuals, from what I read, what's the name of is it a bank? Chase and Morgan and Chase were involved apparently, if that's even but they did studies, they had to conduct research in order to develop this drug called the pill, the contraception pill. So, it took a long time, and I believe it was the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. They were working on these things from like 1916. The idea came about. They started working on it little by little, funding little projects here and there, but they couldn't even like fund projects like overtly. It had to be like, you gotta like, if you want to like, because it's a new thing and it has like, it has side effects that we're unaware of. So you can't just be willy-nilly be like, oh, I need a bunch of people to be guinea pigs for my new nature controlling essentially drug. So they'd be like, we're doing a fertility trial thing of it, study to come do this fertility thing. And people would go and essentially, we had guinea pigs back in the day. And again, this lady, not only did she want to help ladies, but she was also like, you know what, bums on the street, let's get if we can make sure that they don't, procreate and, keep on passing on the cycle. She wasn't into cycles, not a cycle lady. Affluent society can cycle on in her mind, I would assume, because it's not like she had, when it came to cycles, she had her preferences. Just like you'd have a preference of like, what do you go with lukewarm, do you go with warm, or do you go with hot or cold when you're selecting a cycle in the washing machine? Always go with cold, I think. Because like warm and hot, just like if you got a red in there with a white, next thing you know, half your wardrobe is pink, cycles. So she's like, I don't want bums, and I also don't want like, she was like, if anybody's like mentally challenged, get rid of them retards out there. That's what she said. She was fucking like, she wasn't cool with them. She wasn't inclusive. She was like discriminatory, and she was a thug essentially at the core of it. But she did also want to help the movement of the lives, because people are complex, is what I'm trying to say. And but we couldn't do these studies here. Some of them we did, but some of them were like, where can we do this to another population? And apparently we went down to, collectively, us together, went down to Puerto Rico apparently, and just like, oh, hey ladies, come get sterilized, come try these birth control pills and methods. And people died, people got, you're like, how? Blood clots, strokes, other stuff too that's medical that I'm not too, because like I don't want to get let's get medical. I don't want to get medical with you, because if I get, fucking medical, if you feel me, let's not get, lost in the technical jargon of the medical industry. But regardless, people died, and event because that's the thing. Event like when they were beginning, they didn't know how much like they were to dose this stuff, right? They would just like put in a lot, and their first goal wasn't to be like, let's just reduce birth or prevent birth. Essentially, they just wanted to make and like do it safely. They just wanted to make sure that they just wanted to get they wanted to succeed in actually pulling it off. So they would dose it higher than needed with different stuff, and people were like, oh yeah, this is not good. This is not good. People were experiencing severe anxiety and depression, which was nuts, and a lot of it was suppressed, and eventually it got better and better, and we tweaked it around. But that's the thing, we sterilized people. We didn't tell them that people were given medication in Puerto Rico that they weren't even like fully aware of what they were taking. So there was a whole lot of lack of consent, whole lot of like, here, just take this. We don't even know what it is, so just take it. You're the guinea pig, essentially. It's not like they knew. Cray. Fast forward to a lot of, and now it's just like mainstream. Obviously, it's been many a decades that it's a part of our lives. You don't want a baby, you can slip on a old condom, or you can go get pills. You can have the ladies have the pills, and that's a whole lot of, and I've got my, I don't know how I feel about it. I honestly don't know how I feel about it, because there is the benefit of, obviously, like, if you want, I get it. If you want to pursue a career, or if you just want to make sure that, if you want to experience, the safe sex, and you don't want to, you want to make sure you don't get any STDs, and you're like, man, I'm just gonna pop the pill and not get any. Forget the condoms, no STDs. But that's where you're wrong, because you could still get the STDs. You gotta still wear a condom, I think, right? If that's like, with depends on your partner. How long you've been together? Are you guys seeing other people? It's a whole situation to to each their own. I'm just saying, practice the safe, the sex. The point is, man, let me get a sip of this. The point is that you're putting something in your body and it has impact, and I don't know how I feel about it, because like, if you're a lady and you're like, what are the, and this is from a guy's perspective, this is from what I've seen in my lifetime thus far, if you take the pill, things that I've seen, your titties get bigger. That's a good old check mark on the old checklist. If there was a checklist of check marks that needed to be checked off, and tits being bigger was one of the items on the said checklist, check it off, because for some ladies, bigger chests because it fools your body into thinking you're pregnant, but you're not. You're just spotting now. You're just like, you're not out there in the gym spotting each other like you should be. That's teamwork, but like, you're spotting now. You're not getting your like reg flow. You feel me? So it's like, oh, it's a light flow this month. And to each their own. It's and the next month it'll be maybe a little bit heavy. Fucks with your hormones. Your hormones are going up and down. So if you're like, let's check the checklist. Do I want my hormones going up and down? And potential moods. If that's on, you're like, man, mood swings. Potentially, because you're fucking up hormones. You're playing around with hormones, man, and they make up a lot of our, they conduct a lot of our like well-being and overall just like state of what. But I'm not, I don't want to get again technical with the we don't want to get medical up in this bitch. Point is, fam, that check your checklist, and if you want to have mood swings, it does help. Sometimes I've heard people experiencing depression, anxiety, getting on and off them, because most people aren't, people take pills, they forget to take a pill, they're on a cycle for a little while, then they're off a little cycle. That's what, and it's just like, you're just like constantly not putting you're losing your equilibrium, essentially, your natural body's equilibrium, essentially. And again, if on the checklist you're like, man, I want to lose my natural body's equilibrium, and let it do its, like, let Mother Nature be in control of the, like, in certain senses, you're like, fuck this, I want to be in control, I want to get in the driver's seat, I want to be behind this nature that is, I want to drive this bitch right here. And so those things happen. I don't even know if this one's true. I have heard, I've read it. Apparently, for some cases, birth controls, once you're on them, you're okay as a lady. Like, let's say you're a heterosexual lady, and I don't know if this is true. This is crazy if this is true. Somebody confirm this, whether or not it's facts, because if it is, it's wild. Apparently, some cases have been I don't know, man. You get off it, and apparently you're like, oh man, all of a sudden I'm attracted to ladies. Now, what could there be a correlation with, like, hormones and how you what's your, oh man, if you're altering sexuality and you don't even know, son, you get off it and you're like, man, I want to, and then you're like, and I'm just saying, it's weird, dude. A lot of things happen with your bodies, ladies, and again, you know more than I do, so what, it's just, we're just sharing facts and experiences and just going through life together. So I feel you out there, but that responsibility is on the ladies. The fellas have got the condom, which is like, we all pull the load essentially. You feel me? It's the thing is, I have now read articles as of late, that we are now having discussions, talks of the male contraceptive pill. Let us tackle this together, boys and girls. You're tackling heel first, sliding tackle heel first into the shin of the situation that is before us. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, male contraceptive, I've heard of this. It was bound to happen probably. It's bound to, it will probably, that's the thing. We just keep on making things, and like things are, and it's good. I'm not saying like, I don't have a particular leaning towards any of this. I'm just saying the things that, like, it's interesting to observe and see, really. And I'm just like wondering, if you're out there, if you said, you know what, with all the, I don't have enough plastic in my body. You're like, you know what, I need to my T levels aren't low enough. If you wanna essentially shrivel up the little T that you do have left in your, in your nutsack that is sitting in front of a, diminishing taint, really. If you're just sitting there with gyno tits and a small taint and shrinking nutsacks and low T, and you're like, how do I suppress this bad boy even more? How do I make sure that I, again, on my checklist, how do I make sure I alter my mood? How do I make sure that, and some ladies, before we move on to the file, some ladies, if you're on it for a long time, you may not even be able to get pregnant. Sometimes it fucks with you from things that, again, I've not experienced any of these things. These are things that I've just like seen and heard and read. So I don't know. But you are messing around with your hormones. It's like, and if we know anything about anything, and we don't know anything. I wish I knew more. God, I wish I knew more about anything, really, anything, any one thing for fact. If I just would, I don't know. It's, but it's, the good thing is we get to discover together. Good thing is we get to discover together. So you might not be able to have a baby, lady. That's a thing. Might turn you to a lesbian, and that's fine if you wanted to be a lesbian. But what if you didn't, and you're like, oh man, now I'm attracted to puss, which was not on the table before, but now it's like on the table. And I'm not even saying, I don't even know if this is true, but it'd be dope if it is, like, as a byproduct. It'd be dope, but also weird. But things happen. The point is, ladies and gents, ladies, you might just lose your capability of giving birth. That's also another thing on the check that you're like, you know what, I'll risk it. Lady with limited eggs, I'll risk it. Mood swings, check. Hormones going up and down, check. Titties getting bigger, getting smaller when you're off it, check. Maybe not having a baby, check. Fun. But there's always beautiful pantsuits, and just being in a corporate world filled with concrete buildings and things to do on the agenda, and a lot of, I'm gonna take over this company, and we're gonna pull the merger off today, John, right? John, you got this. And you spank John's ass, and John goes into the conference room, and then you go into the conference room, and now you're pulling out charts and closing in deals, and you're closing in hard, and you're closing in fast, and you're swinging, baby. You're swinging for the fences, and the deals are closed. Who's the biggest closer in the city? Fucking you are, killing it. And you like sipping on the old scotch, and with a cigar, with a pantsuit. The lure is, but when you walk into your castle in the evening and you have tons of other amenities to keep yourself busy and entertained and loved, and maybe you got a little pooch that you put in your purse that's got a babysitter, because that's the lifestyle, the lure. But point is, to each their own, to each their own. The point is, what are you even talking about? The male contraceptive pill. Would you take one? Would I ever take? I would probably, again, if I wanna alter my mood, fam, nobody alters my mood better than me. I can alter my own mood with, and I'm not opposed to putting stuff in my body, substances and what have you, and experimenting with limited. I want to make very clear, I've never, I do have my lines with certain things. Never do any quote unquote hard substances like that. But your boy, the weird thing that we gotta like, not that there's any shame on anybody's thing, because I am for like the freedom of you doing whatever you want with your bodies. I don't want it to be like, oh, you do these things, so like, it's not about that. It's just, what I'm saying is that I like to know what I'm putting in my body. So yeah, if I want to alter my mood, I'll do it on my own time and on my own terms. If I want to reduce the chances of me having a baby, I'll just like get fucking passionate about something, which I have gotten really passionate about something, and you all know what it is. There's no time for a baby, so it's just like taking care of itself, literally. Would I take a pill that will reduce my T or stop my T from, just making babies? Even though I don't even want babies at all, it's like not even on a priority list. But like, I like to always have the ability, if I want to, I want it to be like, if I want to, even though I don't want to, if I want to, I want to have the ability. And that's the damn thing, because that's the thing, you get on it, who knows what kind of impact it'll have. And we're gonna find out. So we're gonna need new guinea pigs. I'm not quite sure where we're gonna do the testing, but I'm pretty sure it's being done somewhere. I wonder if they would go to Puerto Rico again, maybe other places, because like, you've been there once, you've done it once. Not to say that it's the same people, but there's like, the idea, and we're doing it together. We're all in it together, all of it. That, and it comes with a good and a bad. It comes with a good and a no. Legitimately, there is like the goodness of like, yes, because I get it. I get it. You're passionate about something. I get it. I get that. Believe me, I get. So like, you're not a baby person. Fuck it. You just want to live a good life doing you. I salute you, lady and gentlemen out there, whoever's doing it, like, it's to each their own. There's no, but I'm just from the, I guess, health aspect, really, it really does. That's the only concern that because I'm like, man, if we're gonna get fucked up, let's get fucked up, but like, let's have fun, but like, let's not like get fucked up and then like 6 years from now, oh, I can't get pregnant right now, this sucks, and I want to get pregnant, let's say, as a lady, you would say. But the thing is, now we're introducing it for the fellas. Man, I wonder what'll, like, that's the thing. You reduce the T even. What if we reduce the T and the taint keeps getting smaller and smaller until the asshole of the males of the future will evolve to become part of their nutsack, which is completely insane. Are you guys out of your goddamn minds, man? Think about that for a second. Just fucking asshole to nut. What a messy situation that is, and it will happen eventually down the line. Which, man, oh man, oh my God, that's fun times, baby. That's fun. Shrinking taints that'll eventually close in with your it'll just close in into your nutsack. And where does your nutsack begin and your butthole begin? And it's all just like, that's how you lose your nuts, dude. Mind the gap, people. Mind the gap, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. How do we make sure they stay apart? We got to separate the asshole from the old nutsack, because that is, once those two, once they meet, that's how you lose your marbles, man. That is just, that is not a pretty picture. So, overall, what do I think about it? Again, I would just say, for the most part, if you want to not get pregnant, use a condom. If you want to not get pregnant, if you want to have the safe sex, condom it up, condom it down. I think that's like the easiest, most safest thing. And it's, and I get it. Do we all want to go in sleeveless? Do we want to go in? Absolutely. Everybody likes the experience way more. You'd be a fool to say, no, I prefer with a condom, bro, unless like it helps you, come later. unless it's like a layer of little thin layer of like buffer zone to, you know, maybe you're extra sensitive, you're like, you know what, I do prefer the and that's the thing, to each their own. But like overall, if I were to like, you know, if I were a lady, I wouldn't take contraception pills, you know, because that's contraceptive pills. It's you know, contraception is just like, you know, wear a condom, because I think it would just like alter me in too many ways. And like, yeah, you could just like not have a baby using a condom. So there's that. But again, if you're like, no man, I want to fuck it up, let's go with the ups and the downs and this and the that, and then like, you know, we'll see what happens in the future, man. We'll see. We need more studies on these things. But yeah, I am interested to see if this will develop, and like if dudes will, man, if you're out there, oh, because you know there's going to be a portion of the population that's going to like take, because everybody takes something, like there's so many people that oh man, it's going to be the boys with the pills, them boys with the, please, oh man, I feel bad for ladies having to take it, let alone, you know, now we got to like add like the other half of the population to it as well. Gosh, just low T's. And like, you know, this is, what if it's, holy crap, dude, what if it turns you gay? And you were like, not that there's, you know what I mean, love the gays, but what if you weren't like, what if that wasn't in your thing? You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, what if you've had 2 babies with your wife and you're like, I should get on the pill to make sure we don't have any more babies. You've been married 42, 3 years old, you take it, and then a year after, 2 years after, you're like, what if we want to have a 3rd kid? Let me get off this pill. You get off the pill, boom, you're sucking dick. Now you're at the local gas station looking for glory holes, giving loose blowies to guys wearing trucker hats, which is fine. But that wasn't on your agenda, is what I'm trying to say. If it was, like, that would have been part of, like, you know, if you had and your wife had a discussion, maybe you're taking things in a completely different way. But like, if it wasn't on your agenda and you take it, and then boom, you're gay. Or reverse fucking, because you never know, it might make you even like, maybe it will double down and make you double straight. Maybe you get even straighter. How about that? Because it could have different effects. Are there any ladies that have experienced getting even straighter than they were before the pill? You know what I'm talking about? You're like, man, I love the D, but now I just like fucking really like love the D. Did that happen to you, ladies? Because like, you gotta fill us in, man, if you've experienced things. And like, because this is gonna be new for the next, think of your, you know, think of the next generations coming up. You know what I mean? What if there's a, you know, what if you're a straight male and you just like double down and you're like, or triple down, you're like, I'm when you're on the pill, you're just fucking, you know, your pecs get bigger all of a sudden, you're just fucking, I am so into like, just like, we get it, dude, like, you know what I mean? It's just, but like, that's the, unless it double, but then again, it could go all, like, it could go reverse. You get off it thinking you're gonna have a 3rd baby, and you're gay out there, and it's fine, but it wasn't planned. But you're not gay. Again, fine, but not planned. So I'm just saying, man, contraceptive pills, should you take it? Whether you're male or female, to each their. I get it. Sometimes people might be, you know, allergic to the latex. Oh, I'm too schmans for latex. Oh, I break out in hives. My skin's sensitive. I'm sensitive. My skin's sensitive. I'm sensitive. So these are, I get it. I get it. Believe you me, I have eczema right now. I've been dealing with this eczema for like, you know, and it's gone chillier, and I'm a little bit, you know, just like, you know, everything's gooch, but like, I get it at this, because I get, you know, I get sensitive skin as well. I get that. So it's just, my life is now, I'm in my, you know, I'm lotioning up more so than I've ever, I'm dealing with this. So I get it. If you're like, oh man, latex, no bueno, I'm fine with latex and all that. I don't, it's just like, for me, it's been something I've had ever since I was a kid. It flares up sometimes this year. It's been annoying. And I gotta just keep moisturizing to make sure that I probably gotta, you know, a lot of it is what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. It's just what it is. What it is that it's daily life sometimes, and like a little bit of the old, I'm not, you know, it's whatever. We all have our, who is not, you know, it's good to be stressed. Who is not stressed? What have we been talking about? Like, I'm fine. I'm completely, like, it's just because it does happen every now and again. And it's just like, oh, annoying at this point, go away. So I get it. You're like, I don't want to wear latex condoms. I'm sorry. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to take my granddaddy's pig intestine condom. with a string attached around, although sentimental, not so practical. And I get it. You're like, I rather have it hung up on the wall so that when guests are over, I can be like, that's Grandpappy's old contraceptive method right there. It's what started this family. You could touch it if you like, smell it if you like, really get in there. And it's all about sharing memories. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, to each their own. I'm just like putting it out there. If it comes on the shelves, if you hear more about it, if you do see it, just say no. But then there will be people that'll just say yes. So do let us know how it goes. Will you get bigger tits? Like, I'm not even talking about like men's pecs. What if you get gyno? There will be, what if you get a really long nipple? Just like because you don't know, we're baking this cake out of this new ingredients that we could play around with like rats and stuff, and that's fine. Like, it's not, because like, but we got to, but it's like, is it animal cruelty even? And you're like, they're dirty rats, and some say they're beautiful little cute rats, like Ratatouille and shit, and you're like, nah, I don't think so. So there's alternative perspectives. That being said, you do the tests on the animals, you might get a certain result, but is it even done in the long term? And who's to say the rat is gonna be a good way of determining how that product is gonna react with the human body? Because we're not rats at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying, fam? Just a bunch of beautiful mofos out there doing it, really. And for me, it's more of like a safety factor. It's more of a, because I as much as I like being, I like to live on the edge of the, I like to get close to the dangers, and like, but at the same rate, if we could, like, if it's not so bueno for the old health, because you want to be healthy, so you could do more walking the old. I just spat. I don't know if it was big enough for the spit particle to get recorded. Maybe you guys could slow it down around 46, 45 is what I'm reading, and see that spit particle that just like flew right across and that's effects. That's not CGI. Everything you see here is real. This is a real person. You're real, and these are the issues of our times. These are the that's what it is. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, it has been Valentine's Day, Valentine's week. Maybe you're again celebrating this weekend, who knows? But it's all said and done. No more I love yous. No more appreciation. No more, being there, right? Because that's what it is, baby. You keep it all for one day. Am I right? Ladies, fellas? Or the reverse of that. I don't know which approach is best. Some people say it's Valentine's Day every day. Your boy happens to be one of those people that says Valentine's Day with me, baby, is every day with you, baby. You feel me? Because that's the love. But some people are like, no, I'm going to be the fucking camel of love and hold on to this love, all the love, for one day of the Valentine's. And I'm not going to tell her I love her. I'm not going to buy her any candies. I'm not even going to, I'm never going to, even if the only thing she wants on this, on her journey in life and in this planet is to experience her lover, her boyfriend, feeding her chocolate. Maybe she's really, and you're like, no, not until Valentine's Day. No, not until Valentine's Day. You say that. Which is weird, man. Why don't you just listen to her a little bit? If she likes chocolates, fucking give her chocolates. The point is, I hope whether you consume a lot of chocolate on one day and you diabetes the fuck out on one day, or you put in little increments of chocolate intake and you build diabetes over time, and it comes to fruition later in your life, 50s, 60s, 70s. You know what it is, human body, what's up, humans, dealing with, as you get older, body parts and shit. Point is, fam, we're all doing it together. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend wherever you are in and around this beautiful planet, and however you're practicing your love, whatever your means of methods of doing it, whether you're doing it, however you're doing it, have fun out there, be safe, and the things that you put in your body have have other people, a lot of other people, not you. Do not be the first on the old list of people that's being a guinea pig, is all, unless you're getting paid a ton of money, in which case you got to be like, how much is a ton of money for me to risk potentially not being able to have a baby later down the line. Maybe fucking growing giant nuts, dude. Maybe you take it, you're fine, you get off it, and now you got these giant dangling nuts. Like the vanity types that people will hang from the back of their truck sometimes. Rare, but you've seen them. Large plastic pink nuts hanging on some truck. And you're like, oh, all right. So, you know, think about that over the weekend and do the love. Don't think about that too much, but also like think about it. What would you do? Would you take it? Would you risk it? You know, is it safe? Is the water safe? Is going back to Palestine for a second? Is the, you know, and are we safe? Because it's like a 5-hour drive. Because and then the clouds. Good thing if we, you know, if we learned anything through Schmovid is that if you just put a little plastic cover, air doesn't go around it. We learned that. So, you know, keep doing what you're doing there. Love y'all. Thank you all for the love and support. If you like these videos, if you'd like to see more, check out the library. There's tons of videos for you to view. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Name of the show is Glad You Made It with your boy Rob Sadri. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Check out YouTube. And if you're like, man, I want to help this show out fiscally because I'm like that kind of person and I'm feeling like daddy went to the roulette table and came home with some heavy pockets. And good on you, daddy. Good on you, mommy, out there doing the gambling. You feel me? And you're like, yeah, I want to contribute. Thank you. Check out patreon.com/Rob Sadri. I'll see you guys back here again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Love y'all. Peace out.